Hey, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society Podcast, reminding you that this podcast is a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the other great podcasts on the network at selfdefenseradio.net.
Welcome to Unload and Show Clear, powered by Match Shark. Listener ready? Stand by.
Welcome to another episode of Unload and Show Clear, a podcast about the men and women who compete in IDPA matches around the world. I'm your host, Lloyd Bailey. IDPA, International Defensive Pistol Association, was formed out of the concealed carry movement back in the 1990s. It's based on the founders' desire for a sport based on real-world defensive skills and not just fancy equipment. IDPA matches are a series of stages that are based on realistic defensive scenarios, and they'll test the shooter's skills in gun handling, accuracy, speed, and problem solving. Men and women from around the world compete every week in IDPA matches, and here at Unload and Show Clear, we introduce you to those people. We talk one-on-one, people, not politics. These are not professional athletes. They're everyday men and women, your neighbors, your coworkers, public servants, your kids' teachers, and you're going to meet one of those great people today. And for 2020, Unload and Show Clear is powered by Match Shark. If you watch videos from last year's IDPA World Championship 2019, you will see that shooters had to deal with the discomfort of shooting in sometimes heavy rain. If you were at that match, or if you were with me at the 2019 Arkansas State match, you know how much fun it can be to shoot in the rain, especially heavy rain. Why do I say that? Well, pasting and scoring targets is not fun at all. Not only are you and your equipment soaked, not only are you cold and wet and damp and uncomfortable, but pasting and scoring targets makes your day even that much more fun. You can't see the scoring zones. The pasters and the tape won't stick to the targets. The targets ultimately will disintegrate because they get waterlogged and have to be changed more frequently. Well, contrast that Arkansas State match to the World Championship and compare the targets. There was a big difference. The difference was you had baggies on the Arkansas targets and you had Match Shark covering the World Championship targets. Match Shark's patent-pending target shields keep targets dry even in heavy rain. They're reusable too, so the cost of those shields is quickly recovered by simply patching and reusing them over and over and over again, because you're not shooting the shield, you're shooting the backer that holds the shield to the target stand. Well, once you're done, you just take the things off, slap a little paster on it. There's a tape paster that covers up the holes. Boom, you're set to reuse it over and over and over again. And it makes your staff happier because setup and scoring and tear down are so much easier. It makes your shooters happier because they can see the targets and they don't have to deal with plastic bags. They're designed and manufactured right here in the United States. They are owned and operated by two IDPA shooters themselves, people experienced in match direction and setup. Will and Chris Schmid, whom you've heard on this podcast, they understand the challenges that match staff face when dealing with wet weather. So let them help you run your matches faster and smarter and make it a better experience for your safety officers and your shooters. Visit matchshark.com today and get everything you need to be prepared for your next rainy day match. That's matchshark.com. Visit them today, matchshark.com. Our special guest today is Bob Slabaugh from Mather, California. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lloyd.
All right, so tell us a little about yourself. What do you do for a living there in Mather?
Well, I am happily retired. I spent 25 years in law enforcement. And then after that, I, strangely enough, went to work in the grocery industry and took it as just a fun job. And 7 years later, I was a meat department manager. And then I paid for all my daughter's colleges, and I said, I don't really want to do this anymore. And so now I shoot guns. that's what I do. I shoot guns all the time and enjoy the heck out of it.
Are you a native Californian?
Oh, yes. Born and raised.
Born and raised.
I remember California before all this craziness. When it really was the Golden State. Now you just kind of wonder.
Where did it go wrong? Right?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Trying not to stray into the politics, but you've grown up, you've spent your whole life in, as I like to say, kind of behind enemy lines when it comes to firearms. Where did the interest in guns and come from, and how did you develop the interest in going into law enforcement?
Well, I am the 9th person from my family to have been in law enforcement, 8th to have been on the same department.
Oh, wow.
And my father was a cop. And I actually I worked for the same department, and he had retired. And then I came on, and I actually, they reissue badge numbers. And so I was able to wear the same badge number as him for my entire career. So more than half a century, we were able to do that. My dad pinned all my badges on me, even when I promoted. He pinned my badges on me. And so it was kind of a family gig. And, when I was growing up, firearms in California, we still hunted. We still could go out shooting in the boondocks and things like that. You could reload. You could buy guns over the counter. It was the golden era,
right?
The Golden State. It's only been kind of recently where we've seen us get behind enemy lines.
Right.
There's still a lot of us out here that don't go for that.
So was that early experience, growing up, Dad was a cop, was the early experience with guns hunting or, plinking with 22s or was he teaching you with the revolver, or what was that early experience like?
Yeah, I never really hunted or anything. It was, self-defense and I never really learned from my dad, learned from friends.
Oh, wow.
I never really learned from my dad. I mean, he always had a gun. He always carried a gun. And he was, later in life when we would go qualify together, he was a pretty good shot. But, I just grew up with him. And it was just something you had. And I never, like I said, I never hunted, but I always had a firearm. And then when I went into law enforcement, it was a natural progression. And that was that. It was part of the job.
Right. The tool you used for work.
Yeah.
At what point did it become more than just the tool for work? At what point did it become something that was, something fun? At what point did competitive shooting sort of enter into the picture?
Well, and that's the fun part, because I left law enforcement. I left all that behind me. And I was working as meat department, working in the meat department. And I have two brothers. I have an older brother and I have an identical twin brother. And my identical twin brother, he's kind of lives in a city that is very much behind enemy lines, very liberal city. And he's like, hey, but he's grew up with guns also. My older brother's retired military. And so he's like, hey, I found this neat thing, man. We should all go shooting together. And it's something we could do together as brothers. And that's how I got started. And
so you just showed up. Did you have any idea of what you were getting yourself into when you?
Oh, heck no. not even close. And the first match was terrible.
Okay, well, this sounds like there's a fun story here. What?
Oh,
Tell us about this day.
Match. So the first match I can remember, I go out there and I have a gun that I actually carried on duty, but it was an old Smith & Wesson semi-auto 9mm, and I don't know, the gun probably was 25 years old.
The old stainless 3506, or
actually it was before that. It was a 639.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, first gen, baby, first generation. And I go out there and that thing malfunctioned. Oh, did it malfunction? And it was probably half of it was shooter induced, and of course, I'm approaching the targets and I'm quick peeking and I'm going around them just like I was taught in law enforcement. And I'm sure I got a lot of people looking at me going, what is he doing? And, and I just, it was terrible. But I met some of the best people. I did. And it was great to get, and they weren't all just cops. There were people from all across the board. And I was very welcomed into the thing. And it was like, wow, I get to go see these people and I go hang out with my brothers and do something fun. This sounds probably kind of cool.
So
that started it.
That got you started. But so that first experience didn't discourage you, and you didn't say, maybe I'll move on to something else. No. The competitive side came out. It's like, okay. Oh no, I can do better than this. Of course, a little bit of pride. You're a cop. Come on, right?
And you could do this. Nobody's gonna, you did this for a living, and all this. So it was. Especially my brothers. Got to beat my brothers. So that was a big thing. Got to beat my brothers. Got to be better than them. And so it was about bragging rights and everything else. And but it was still just a once a month kind of a thing. Practice? Nah, I'm not going to practice or anything. And up until about 2017 when I retired from grocery, and that's when I got serious.
Okay, so between retirement from the police force and going out and shooting that first local match, not really practicing a whole lot, did you do anything other than just going to the local matches? Did you try a sanctioned match, or was it after you retired for good and devoted yourself to getting better as an IDPA shooter? Was it at that point that you decided to dip your toes in the sanctioned match waters?
No, I had classified as a marksman and wasn't really practicing or anything. Went to a match, I think it's 3 or 4 years ago in Bakersfield, and had gotten a match bump there to sharpshooter.
Oh, okay.
And I had started getting into reloading. You get your first Lee press and you're doing single stage, and I had bought a new gun by then, thank goodness. So I didn't have any of the problems. And so
how long after that first match before you bought that gun?
Oh yeah, it was right away. I'm like, this looks good. And joined an indoor club, indoor range, and would go there to shoot once in blue moon, but really wasn't training or anything. You can't do much training at indoor.
Right.
And yes, gotten a Glock 34, moved over to a Glock 34 and shot that. And that's what I made sharpshooter on.
Okay.
And
that was a match bump at
Bakersfield.
In Bakersfield.
In Bakersfield.
Talk about that day. What you said you didn't practice a whole lot. You you got a new gun. You went to Bakersfield to shoot.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go to Bakersfield? And then tell us about that match and what that day was like. Because going from the local club to, the guys with the NASCAR shirts on is.
Oh yeah. Well, we had a few of the NASCAR shirts in Sacramento, so I'd seen some of those guys.
Okay.
But there wasn't a lot, and that kind of got me. My older brother said, "Hey, let's go to Bakersfield," and I thought, okay, well, we could carpool together, we'd share a room together. That makes it affordable. And I remember going down there, and I brought my Glock 34, and I had a Glock 19, and I had, of course, you got to trick out your Glock 34, right? You got to put in all these race parts and everything else. Well, I had halfway through the match, I had a malfunction, and
heaven forbid.
Yeah, go figure, right?
With Glock perfection.
I started having light strikes, and I thank God I had my Glock 19 because I went to a safe table. I pulled out the firing pin, and the firing pin was just worn down.
Oh.
And I had replaced it with an aftermarket firing pin and went, oh no. So grabbed the firing pin out of the striker out of my 19, threw the striker in, finished the match, and won my division.
Wow.
Which I'm like, wow. Maybe I should have done that all along, which was great. And it was a fun match. And the people there, they're part of that California Connection group, and they're a lot of fun. They served us tacos. So, hey, how could you go wrong, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. And we also send a lot of people to matches like that to work them and stuff like that. A lot of our members were there. So we got to see people that were there that I normally shoot with. So it was great.
Very cool. So your first taste of a sanctioned match, you win your division. That's a nice confidence boost.
Oh, yeah, but that didn't happen again. I waited a few more years till that happened. Yeah. Here's the carrot. Go ahead. You got it now? Okay. You're not getting it again.
Yeah, so, that's the only problem.
Yeah.
You jump right in from marksman right into the sharpshooter pool.
Oh, yeah. And that's a big pool and a lot of competitions there. And
yep.
Oh, that was a tough time. That was a tough time.
So you said that once you retired for good, that you devoted yourself to getting better. What changed in terms of the practice routine and the approach to IDPA?
Well, I had taken some private lessons from one of the guys here in Sacramento who is a master level shooter in one of the big training organizations here in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And I had mentioned to him, I go, yeah, I'm going to, retire and I want to do this full time. Boy, I would like to join a team, but I don't know. He goes, you want to join a team? I'm like, and next thing you know, I'm getting a phone call. Hey, would you like to be on our team? And okay, sure. And so then joined a team. And part of the benefits of joining that team was one of our sponsors was that same training organization.
Nice.
And they said, hey, you can, we have range practice every Wednesday and you can come out here and train. And all you had to do is bring your ammo and pay for range fees. So, okay. And one of your other guests, Ben Hart,
mm-hmm.
That's where I met Ben. And I'm used to making, I was always taught to train up when in law enforcement, everything, train up. And so I told him, hey, rain or shine, I will be here on Wednesdays. And he did the same. And I just started training with him. And that was last year, that was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, 2019. When that happened. And I just started training. And then I had, he told me about some schools that were coming up, and I attended in about a 14-month period, I attended 3 major schools for competition. I got to go to a Mike Seeklander school, got to go to Rob Latham and Mike Seeklander.
Nice.
And then went to an Elias Frangoulis school. And that was great. That's when I started buying books, videos, online, dry fire practice, because, hey, now someone's holding me accountable.
Right.
And then last, September, I think, when we shot Washington State, I match bumped to expert there.
Very nice.
Second place by 1 second. See, I told you I'm not going to win my division. I took second place. So,
hey, it's a game of inches.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
Congratulations on that. So, talk about that match, and we just talked to Brian Buller recently, the match director of the 2020.
Yeah, I listened to that, Brian. Yep. In fact, I shot with Brian on the same squad in Prado.
Right.
The only major match we've shot this year is Prado.
Right.
Everything else has been canceled.
So talk about that match and how that day went for you, and what was the performance like? Was it one of those days where everything seemed to go right, or was it a matter of just a couple of lucky breaks, or were you surprised at the end that, oh wow, I actually finished second? Or did it feel like it was all working out for you as the day went along?
No, I had shot some major matches earlier in the year, and it just kept making mistakes. And I had someone tell me a long time ago that it's not that you don't make mistakes; it's the quality of the mistakes you make. So I made some real doozies, and it's like you can't afford that. You just cannot afford to make those kind of mistakes. And I went in there and made no mistakes. I was really focused, and I had trained a lot, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And I did. And it was I knew I had done well. I didn't know how well I had done because I just took it stage by stage.
Right.
I have done it in the past where I'm like, Paige, so do you want to know how you're doing right now? Sure. And,
right.
Oh yeah, that's not good. You're doing really well. Oh, watch me tomorrow, because I'm going to mess it all up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's Colorado. I did that last year. It was like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to know.
Yeah. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you're familiar with those circumstances. Yeah.
Although I usually acquaint myself with them pretty early on when I shoot a non-threader 4.
Well, there you go. Right.
Right. It's the quality of the.
It's the quality of the mistake.
Of the mistakes. Yeah. Mine are really high quality usually.
I'm telling you, that takes skill.
What's it been like since the bump? Everybody talks about, well, like you said, you jumped right into the sharpshooter pool, and that's a hard pool to swim to the other side of. Expert is even worse.
Oh yeah. Expert's a tough division. Oh man, is it tough. So the next major match I shot the Western, I think was after Washington State. Maybe it was before, but when I shot the Western, I was working it. And, whenever you work a match, I don't think you get your best performance. So, it was a Sacramento match. The club needs you. You work the match.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do well at the Western. And then I, point-wise, was sitting on the edge for Worlds. And I had never shot in a national or Worlds competition ever in my life. Never. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know, that's kind of expensive. And do I want to go all the way back to Talladega? And then I got the invite. I'm like, ooh, I made it. I had no points.
Right.
What do I do now? So I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I go back there, and I saw some Sacramento folk that were shooting on the same days I was. They were in the same boat. I think we were shooting the Tuesday, Wednesday.
Funny you would use the term boat.
Yeah.
But your slots were earlier in the week, so you had.
Oh, we had great weather. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was terrific. And so I get there, and I had met Mandy Bachman before, and I've always been impressed by Mandy. And so I saw Mandy, and I checked in and chit-chatted with her. And I remember sitting over there in the check-in table, and I see this woman walk up, and she's got a baseball hat pulled down low and got her sunglasses on. And I'm like, she looks familiar. Now, I'm an old cop, so I'm looking at it going, I know that face. It's Julie Gollum. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Julie Gollum. Oh, look, that's Julie. And people are, the guys I'm with are like, who's that? It's Julie Gollum. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And so finally, I get up enough gumption to go on over. I've been following your career, and I'm dumbfounded. I'm starstruck, and I've been around. I've been on TV from work, and I've met actors and all that. I don't care, but I got starstruck with her, and then I saw Rob Latham, all of Wilson Combat there. Mandy's there, and
so weird how that works.
Oh yeah. I'm just like, wow, this is so cool.
I'm just gobsmacked when you go to one of these big matches and you see
it's terrible, right? It's terrible. I'm sitting there, and so I go on up and I introduce myself and I get a picture with her, and then we go on down. We start walking the stages, and I'm walking stages with Julie Golub. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Don't say anything to her, okay? She's doing her magic here. She's looking at it. And I'm just so. The next day I shoot the first day, and I really don't do as well as I felt I should have. I made some mistakes that I shouldn't have made, and I knew it. And so Ben texts me and he goes, "Hey, how'd you do?" And well, I got to meet Julie Golub, and I saw Rob Latham, and I saw I got pictures with Mandy and Julie. And he goes, "What did you come there for?" I went,
oh yeah,
to win. He goes, did you come there to win or not? Because they're not going to go home with you. Oh, you're right.
Dang it, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. And it was like, Ben, I wish you would have said that earlier in the day. And then the second day I did much better. But it was that just being gobsmacked, like you said, just being totally, and I'd never shot on a world stage before. And I was just flabbergasted by it. And then, after I'm done shooting, I get, I go on over to one of the get-togethers, and I meet Simon Cote. I sit down with from Wilson Combat. I'm sitting down with these people. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting here drinking with these guys. This is crazy, And I meet Joyce Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And she just sits down next to me and starts chit-chatting away with me. I'm like, you're Joyce Wilson.
Right.
Whoa, what has happened here? And very nice people. And it was a great experience for me. First time I've ever done that. Yes, it was like, wow. Yep. So that was Worlds. It was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. Expensive.
Yes.
But yeah, really, really quite cool.
Once you wiped the stars from your eyes, you were
I was okay.
You were good.
It was just getting past that. They're not going home with you, Bob.
Nothing like a reality check from Ben.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Yes.
So what did you think of the, now I know California has some really high quality matches. You've shot Washington State. Washington State is highly regarded. The Western is a tremendous match every year. You've been to Colorado. You've been
to Tucson, Arizona.
You've been to Tucson. You've seen some really, really high level matches before. Compare those experiences to what you saw at Worlds.
The Colorado, the Rocky Mountain Regional,
minus Julie Golub, obviously.
Yeah, minus Julie Golub. Yeah, didn't see Julie there. But it was, the quality of the stages were better, but not a whole lot. I mean, shooting at the Western, shooting in Tucson, Arizona, shooting for Arizona State, and then because the shooters in Arizona are just, that shooting community is dog nuts there. Mm-hmm. They're good. And I've been to Texas also and shot there. And great stages. The stages at Worlds were really awesome. And but what was different was seeing everybody from all over the world.
Mm.
That was incredible to see people from China and Slovakia and Germany and France and Italy. And I shot with some people on my squad from South Africa, a
Right.
family that came in. And I'm still friends with one of the son on Facebook and all that.
Nice.
And I look over and his mom's shooting. His mom is shooting a revolver, and she's shooting a Colt Python.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
oh, you're shooting a Colt Python. Do you know how expensive that revolver is? She's like, no. It's a Colt Python. You can't get him. It was incredible. Everybody else, shooting Glocks. I'm shooting a CZ, and I look over and she's got a Colt Python. Wow. So pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That part of it was just absolutely cool.
Through this journey from jumping right into sharpshooter pretty much and making expert, and now the odd journey that's, trying to get to master, what's the biggest lesson you've learned since you started to where you are now? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned that's really helped you improve?
Oh, I think it's about consistency. It's about, you just can't, for me, it's taking little steps, so I get my draw down to 1.5 seconds, get my draw down to 1.25, get my draw down to 1.1. It's these little plateaus, and you will plateau, and you've got to work, especially for me, I've got to work through that. And maybe it's easier for others, but not for me. It is about just regularly training, putting rounds downrange and getting out there once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week and dry firing every day. I have a little dog at home, and she hates it when I dry fire. She's like, I'm out of here, Bob. I've had enough of that. You're making lots of noise, and she'll leave the room. And it's like, sorry, but got to do it. And yeah, and then trying to keep your interest, because sometimes it gets boring. So I just got some new targets that are like airsoft targets, but they look like IDPA targets. And so you can play with those, and you can set up stages and kind of keep yourself mentally into it.
All right, before we get to the last question, funniest, strangest, weirdest thing ever happened to you at a match?
Okay, so Colorado was kind of a train wreck. So I told you I have a little dog.
Yep.
And so the woman I was dating at the time, it was a beautiful day. It was about a month before the match. It was a beautiful day out here. And we've got a beautiful lake that's not too far away from where we live. So it's like, hey, let's go take the dog and take a nice walk around the lake. Great. So we go around there, we do that. And you know how little dogs are. They just have a ball in the beginning, but then they want to be picked up and carried. So I pick her up and I carry her, and oh man, she's got ticks on her. Oh no. So I'm wiping the ticks off her, and she's a smooth hair min pin, so it's not too hard. And so I've wiped everything off of her. She's okay. We sit down, we go back to the park, grab a little wet nap, and have an orange out of the cooler. And oh, that's awesome. A beautiful day. We had a nice walk, nice fresh orange. Get in the car, go home. Man, I start to itch.
Oh no.
There's poison oak.
Oh no.
Now, I don't know if you knew, I didn't know at the time, but dogs are immune to poison oak. I am not. And I had never had a reaction before like that. And I had poison oak on my legs, on my arms, on my face.
Oh, everywhere the dog touched?
I had touched the dog.
Oh.
Even though I had wiped down with a handy wipe, I had then eaten the orange and got the oils inside my mouth.
Oh.
So I have got poison oak all over, and I am miserable. Absolutely miserable. I've got a month before this match. So I contact my doctor. I don't even go in. I just send him photographs. And I get online and I call him up, and he gives me a prescription for Prednisone. Now, I've never taken that drug before in my life. Man, I was like Superman when I got on that drug. Oh, that is a steroid. No wonder that's a performance-enhancing drug. God, I felt 20 years younger. And it helped with all the itchiness and everything went away. And then you titrate off of it. But your body needs to start getting that stuff back in. It needs to start reproducing that hormone. There's a little lull in there, and your immune system kind of gets a lull. Right about the time we went to Denver, Colorado, we flew into Denver and drove to Grand Junction, which is quite a drive, and you're going up over the Rockies. And so you're going up to 10,000 and everything else. Well, I got sick. Oh, did I get sick? And so the first day, I've got a beautiful intestinal infection going on.
Oh, no.
So every stage, I got to find a bathroom. And so the first day, I do well. And the second day, I am dehydrated. I shouldn't even be there. I should have just gone to the hospital. But no, I'm too stupid. I've come all this way. I'm going to do it. And we got to perform very poorly. We got to the last stage, and I had a choice of shooting the targets from a distance or rushing the targets and engaging them. And I always do better if I rush them, so I rushed them. And you're still at about 4,000, 5,000 foot elevation. Man, I'm sucking air. I thought, okay, get in the ambulance. I'm done. And oh man, I was so miserable. And that was, I should pay attention to my health. That was the lesson learned. Pay attention to your health. Don't do something stupid like that. And it was something else. Oh man. I haven't been that sick in a long time. Everything was fine. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to, ride it out. But oh yeah. So it was a beautiful trip to see a gorgeous range, and I was sicker than a dog.
Fun.
And if you ever get a chance to go to Grand Junction, go. It's a gorgeous range, beautiful facility, and they put on a great match there.
I have seen the photos and video from the range, and I would love to get out there. And I've got
it's beautiful.
Walt and a number of people have invited me, and I've got to find a way to get out there.
Oh yeah, Walt. I love Walt. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
the crews do a great job out there.
All right, final question. You know what's coming. Now you've dedicated your entire shooting career to basically to this one division, to getting better, to making master, to enduring what sounds like one of the worst matches I cannot even imagine.
Oh yeah.
And yet you keep coming back for more. What is it?
Because I'm not so smart.
Aside from that possibility.
Oh, besides from that. Okay.
Aside from that, what could it be that keeps you coming back to IDPA? What is it you love about this sport?
You know the answer, Lloyd. It's all the people. It's the people. Okay. I've met some of the best people in the world, some of the salt of the earth people, and I love doing the shooting. The activity itself is just a lot of fun. But
and Julie Golub.
Oh yes, I met Julie. I got a picture. But yeah, you get to meet all these great people. You get to travel all over the place. You got friends, and by the time I started looking at my Facebook page, man, I've got friends from all over the United States and that I've shot with and I've met, and it's terrific. It really is, and I'm so thankful that I'm in a community of shooters here in Sacramento. They're great people. Got a great club that I shoot at. I bought a house that is only 30 minutes from the range. I chose this house for that reason, but it's a beautiful house. But I chose that house for another reason. And my real estate agent was one of the guys I shoot with. So
nice.
You get all these people, and of course, when someone asks you about something, I know a guy, I shoot with him, and so yeah, great people, some of the best people in the world, and absolutely enjoy it. I can't think of anything better.
Awesome. Well, Bob, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this story with us. And I hate I have not had a chance to. I hate I missed you at Worlds. and Julie Golub too. But
Yeah, well, yeah. He's real nice.
But
she's like, who's Bob?
right.
Yeah, you don't know me from Adam, probably.
But hopefully I get a chance when everything slows down, and hopefully one of these days we cross paths on the range. I get a chance to meet you face to face, and we get a chance to shoot together when everything is back to some semblance of normal. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Lloyd. We look forward to seeing you. Come on out to California, behind enemy lines.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you to our guest for coming on the show. And thank you to our awesome sponsor, Match Shark, for making this entire season possible. If you would, please take a minute to check out our website, Unload Podcast. Lots of cool previous episodes are there, links to all sorts of great information. Just check out the guest list as well. Join the Facebook group too if you want to connect with other fans and get updates on the latest news. You can find that at unloadpodcast.com/Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of cool videos there at unloadpodcast.com/YouTube. And if you'd like to support the show personally, consider becoming a patron, just $1 a month at patreon.com/unload. And for your support, I'll send you out a sticker and you'll have my undying gratitude for your help. If you or someone you know would make an interesting guest for a future episode, you can contact me at unloadpodcast.com. Just go to the contact button in the menu at the top of the page and send me a message. Or you can send me an email at Lloyd, LLOYD, at unloadpodcast.com. Tune in again next Thursday for another episode of Unload and Show Clear, powered by Match Shark. We are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Be sure to check out all of the other pro-freedom podcasts at selfdefenseradio.net.